So that's actually quite impressive, using folders, I believe, to get this to work. Collections, and then within this you have all your attract mode collections. This is the 32 gigabyte Mr. Harias image, and it's definitely impressive. Both emulation station and attract mode, rocking the super display theme. It's definitely got a lot of things you got to check out. I think this is the biggest differentiator on this image is one, that it looks great, it's got hacks, it's got a great menu, but also if you go into RetroPie, it's got a lot of scripts pre-installed, so the background music script is pre-installed, so it makes it way easier to add background music or edit it. You have the GPIO shutdown script already pre-installed, adding and removing a hard drive pre-installed, bezels and shaders, shortcuts pre-installed, and then it does have a track mode, and it also does come with the Team ZT installer as well. Going on the main menu here, you have a Kodi button, you have a shutdown button, which is kind of nice, quick. You can also just hit start and go down to quit. You have hacks, so all your hacked games. You have NES Classic Edition. So this is all the, I guess this is all the NES games that come with the Classic pre-installed, is what I'm guessing. You have Super Nintendo Classic. You have all your games. So this image has a total of 2,494 total with the hacks. You got your favorites. You can add and remove favorites pretty easily. And the cool thing about favorites is it does show you what system is coming out of the pie. So it gives you, if it's MAME, it's MAME. So MAME, we got 499, Neo Geo 68, which is a smaller collection there, Atari 2600, 119, 5200, 31. You don't see 5200 on a lot of images. 7800, 32, Lynx 32, Coleco 25. You have Nintendo Famicom 71, Family Computer Disk System 18, Super Famicom 48, Nintendo. So this is all the Nintendo games, 107, where before the Nintendo was, I guess, the Nintendo games that are on the classics of 32. So there's an additional 60-something games there. Super Nintendo, 103, Nintendo 64, 63. So quite a nice collection there. It's good to see that there's, not forgetting the Nintendo 64. Virtual Boy 8, so again, not all the collections. You have BSX, 67 games. You have Sufami Turbo, 16 games. Techno, 16 games. Game & Watch, 55. You don't see this on a lot of images. No video snaps for the Game & Watch. Oh, you get one for Donkey Kong. Game Boy, 101. Game Boy Advance, 122. Game Boy Color, 58. Nintendo DS, let's see what we got on here, 9. So you got Mario Hoops, Mario Kart, Super Metroid. There's a little bit of lag on these video snaps. 53 games on Game Gear, SG 1025. Sega Mark III, 70 games. Cool to see that. Sega Master System 96. Sega Genesis, not Mega Drive. Oh, I guess they have Mega Drive games as well. But Genesis 130, Mega Drive 10, 32X 24, Sega CD 1. I wonder which game. Sonic the Hedgehog CD, great one. Dreamcast just 2, Marvel vs. Capcom and Soul Calibur. You are going to have to edit your Rycast controls to get that all up and running. PSP, you got Zuma on there. PSP Minis, you got a total of 10. And then PlayStation, you got 8 games. R-Type Delta, Tomb Raider. Moving along, PC Engine 52, PC Engine CD 1. Just this game. Super Graphics 5. TurboGrafx 16, 22. TurboGrafx CD just 1, Addams Family. Vectrex 15, Neo Geo Pocket 9, Neo Geo Pocket Color 21, Wonder Swan Color, Amiga, none installed, just the operating system. 32, again, just the operating system. Amstrad, you have 22 games. Nice. MSX, 28, MSX2, 14, Spectrum, 31, ScumVM is no games, it's just a boot up. PC games, just the boot up for DOSBox, and then Pixel. You also have ports, which is kind of redundant because it's desktop, it's the Pixel and the Kodi shortcuts. You can almost get rid of ports, you don't really need that. And then yeah, you have some cool hack games. You got 4 hack games for Game Boy Advance. I haven't tried any of these games, so probably looking forward to testing those. Game Boy hacked, Game Gear hacks, Sega Genesis hacks, 34, Nintendo hacks 6, Super Nintendo hacks 37, and then you're back to the RetroPie setup. So there you go. I do want to see just if a track mode is hooked up on here. So here we are in a track mode. And as you can see, the buttons and the backgrounds are slightly different. You have different collections here. So it's very short menu. You have a track mode setup, and within here you have shutdown scripts, controls, bezels, the same things you have in RetroPie setup, which is nice. If you go back, you do have a shutdown script right there, which is nice. You do have Cody as a menu item. So then within you have hacks. This is cool. So it's menus on top of sub-menus, which is actually really nice, right? So you go into hacks, for example, then you can pick your system hacks, for example, and then within that hacks you have your actual games and your video snaps. So that's actually quite impressive, using folders, I believe, to get this to work. Collections, and then within this you have all your track mode collections, Disney games, Donkey Kong games, Double Dragon games, Earthworm Jim games. So let's just say Earthworm Jim, we click in there, and then we should have all the Earthworm Jims. So we have Earthworm Jim for the Genesis, we have it for the Super Nintendo, we have number 2 for Genesis, and then we have number 2 for the SNES, and then we have Nintendo 64 3D, and then it goes back to the Genesis. So that's kind of cool. You know, Frogger, you want to play Frogger? Let's see what we got here. We got Frogger 1 for the arcade, Frogger 2 for the Atari 2600, Frogger 2 for the Atari 5200, and then Frogger regular for the 2600, Frogger regular for the 52, Coleco, arcade, Atari, back to Atari. So pretty cool stuff. So you go back, and now you're on the main menu again, and then you go by computers, all your computer systems. That's cool. Consoles, so Super Nintendo Classic, Nintendo 64, all the same menu items we saw in Emulation Station. And then arcades, you have all the different arcade collections, your CP1, your CP2s. So CP1, for example. So you can see it's a little different look. It's kind of got more of a wheel look versus Emulation Station. Still super pretty. It's a gorgeous image. Well organized favorites. So there you go. I mean, and then you got handhelds, which you didn't look at. So all your handheld systems, Game & Watch, Nintendo DS. So really cool stuff. If I was running a bar top, I would definitely keep it in a track mode. But because I'm using a controller and a computer, I'm probably, to continue using this image, I'm going to be using it in Emulation Station. So the way this works is if I shut it down right now, it'll just reboot into a track mode. If I go into a track mode setup and then I run the Emulation Station button here, it'll actually reboot an Emulation Station, and then if I shut down from Emulation Station, that's my default boot. So depending on what you want it to default boot into, that's gonna be your whichever system you're in last. So this will be Emulation Station. So as you can see here, it has 1.8 gigs left out of the 28 gigabytes that it is currently set to. If we exit, so as you can see here, I was running it on a 64 gigabyte card. So I now have 32 gigabytes free out of 58. So based on that, I think you are only, if you do put it on a 32, you're going to have somewhere between 1 and 2 gigs left. If you put it on a 64, you're going to have, like I have here, this is SanDisk Ultra. I have 32 extra gigabytes to add, or more video snaps, whatever I want. I got plenty of space for it. If you did a 128, you'd have 96 or so gigabytes left. It's a lot of space to add a lot of cool stuff. All right, gamepad detected. Good sign to start. All right. Okay, so it is running the most recent version of RetroPie, or very close to it. Okay, so there you have it. This is the 32 gigabyte super display image. Really nice. What sets it apart is that it works in the track mode, it works in Emulation Station, it's really well organized, it has almost all the systems pre-installed. If you want to get rid of a system, just delete the games out of it and the system tray icon should go ahead and be removed. It's only the computer systems like Coleco and Amstrad and Spectrum that might need you to configure the controls ahead of time, but all the other systems should be pre-configured once you do your controls in RetroPie. The other one being Dreamcast. You may have to do those separate as well. And it's just got a lot of everything. So it's kind of, to me, between the perfectly packed image and between the bare bones image. It's right in the middle there. And it's got a little bit of everything. So I think no matter where you stand on the spectrum, this is one of those where it's like a nice slate to start from. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys on the next one.